How do? Got another video here, and I think this one is going to fit in perfectly with some of the other topics I've been talking about in regards to um, unique toxic female traits that some unfortunate women do seem to show. And I will be very clear that this isn't at all towards all women, far from it. And if you are watching this and saying, "Well, that's not me," this isn't directed at you, just to let you know that. But we have all, as I've said in other videos, we have all known particular females who like stirring things up or causing drama or like creating webs of deceit for their own entertainment, etc., etc. And I've made similar points in other videos, and this article I think highlights that perfectly. With regards to the article, I'll put the link below so you can read it yourself. Please make your own mind up as well. Don't just listen to me. But also, it's good to give these sites the internet traffic, so it helps with their advertisers. I'm not sponsored either by any of these sites, so it's no benefit to me. But I think it's just good courtesy to help these sites with their revenue if we're using the content as we are. Anyway, onto the story. PC sacked after seeing imaginary boyfriend repeatedly beat her up. A police officer who repeatedly reported her ex-boyfriend for assaulting her has been sacked after her colleagues discovered he did not exist. On what planet does a police officer think that they can falsely report cases like this and get away with it? I mean, she must understand the reporting at the very least. I mean, without going further into this, like not without commenting on the moral ambiguity or anything like that of it. It's not even ambiguity, it's just like it is a lack of morals. But anyway, like surely she understands that this will get investigated and this alleged boyfriend will not be found. But if he's been beating her up, quote unquote beating her up, the police are going to want to interview this person and caution him whilst interviewing him, etc. She is a police officer who's going to know this. So why would she even report this? I don't get that mindset. Anyway, PC Nadine Thurley made 14 allegations. Again, 14 allegations. Like, this isn't just like a one-off or twice. Like 14. That is really, really, if that's real crime, bad. A really, really bad crime, and the police are going to be like looking for this person. They're going to actually be sending officers out trying to find this man. Speaking to people to try and locate him. What a waste of officers' valuable time. The fictional Dan Jones, which led to police wasting extensive resources, there we go, investigating the supposed crimes. I mean, I have said in some video, in one of my videos, I think it was to do with the Aviva one, and it was about during #MeToo, there was the whole believe all women. And I made the words to the effect of, we had that once, or at least they did in America in the early 20th century and before, where women were believed without question, and it ended up with a lot of black men being hung from trees until they were very, very dead. And unfortunately, this is what happens when, and I'm not saying that people shouldn't be listened to, but believed is different. And here we found that the police have actually stopped believing her because they've then gone on to find out that she was lying. So, and I know that this isn't an example of wider behaviour of the majority of women, but I do believe that there is enough people who do engage in this kind of, and I do believe this is attention seeking of some sort activity, for it to be at least acknowledged when doing all investigations. I don't think that this is so unique that it should be ignored or just brushed off as a unique situation. She told colleagues she was attacked by a former partner. The lies continued in March 2021 when PC Thurley said Mr. Jones, the fictional Mr. Jones, approached her in the New Forest telling police he was armed with a knife. I mean, that's an escalation of the ideology. I mean, what is going on with this person? But officers attending the scene noted she did not have any mud or debris on her clothing despite extremely boggy and muddy conditions. Well, that's a massive, massive giveaway, isn't it? In hopes of catching Mr. Jones, an operations team installed covert CCTV in PC Thurley's home in Marchwood near Southampton. This is how her web of lies was finally uncovered. Yeah, it is. I can't get. I'm hoping that at some point it's going to give us a little bit of insight into what was her motivations on this. I mean, really, she should be going to prison, in my opinion, for this kind of lying, because there will be actual victims including women who are actually being attacked, who may not have been seen in a quick enough time for them to feel confident to make a report and maybe put off reporting because of this. Or people who may have gone on to, I don't know, been in a road traffic accident and could have gone on to die because the police officers weren't able to get to those people because she was wasting the time of the police. And she knows this as well. Unaware of the surveillance cameras, the officer reported 2 further incidents in July 2021 at her home address, claiming Mr. Jones had been there. Presenting the case at a disciplinary hearing, Detective Inspector Simon Clifford said, significantly, given the evidence that PC Thurley provides at the scene of the route taken by Jones into her address, it can be proven from the CCTV cameras that nobody attends her address, apart from her imagination. Less than a month later, PC Thurley was arrested and charged with 2 counts of perverting the course of justice for the 2 incidents in July. I do believe that we also have making false statements as well as is a crime here. I could be wrong, but I am almost certain that making false statements and reporting crimes falsely is also a crime. Last month, following a court case at Bristol Crown Court, a jury found her guilty of the offences which she denied and insisted she was telling the truth. D.I. Clifford told the hearing, fabricating the existence of a boyfriend is dishonest and lacks integrity and disciplinary action is warranted. I don't think it's just disciplinary action. I think it's a custodial sentence because she's in a position of responsibility and should know far better and should be treated in a manner bestowing of a police officer who's gone well below what's expected of a police officer. PC Thurley did not attend the hearing held at Hampshire Constabulary Operational HQ in Winchester. Instead, she sent an email which stated, "The only representation I wish to make is to say that all I have ever done is tell the truth and follow directions given by my line managers." So she's not even got the goal to go in and face the consequences of her actions. It is understood PC Thurley, now of Woking, Surrey, has been unwell and suffered PTSD from an incident in 2020 whereby she witnessed a fellow officer get stabbed. Yeah, but that doesn't excuse making up lies. However, D.I. Clifford said, and that, by the way, I don't want to minimise that. I mean, it's awful for her. And this is a problem with allowing, I suppose, and I don't want to say this is all women again, but men and women are psychologically different from each other as well as physiologically different, and how we process traumatic events. And I think we are going to start seeing a lot more of very disturbed people. I mean, male officers will be disturbed by a stabbing as well, but I do think men are able to, from an evolutionary point of view, able to compartmentalise things like that, going back to hunter-gatherer days where it would be almost expected for you to see people that you go out hunting with getting gored by animals, and you've just got to be able to move on from that and continue functioning. And I don't think women have necessarily got the same. Not all women, but I do feel that women do struggle more with traumatic events like that than men do. And also, there's going to be the physical strain on the body as well, due to the way people carry weight and how bone density works. And like to do with like muscle, like the amount of fast twitch fibers in your muscles and red blood counts, etc. I think we're going to start seeing in the not too distant future a lot of women having serious physical ailments caused by getting into these professions, which are incredibly difficult on even the fittest of men. So this isn't, and this is all. I do think a lot of women are being thrown on the pyre of gender equality as sacrificial lambs, so to speak, in order to appease the ideology of equality. However, D.I. Clifford said, "It is the appropriate authorities' case, as it was the case of the prosecutors at trial, that this is not a case about mental health, but one of malingering or lying." Throughout all investigations, she did not provide any details to officers about the identity of Mr. Jones. Well, no, I mean, if she's dating him, it'd be very, very easy to identify him, just phone number, address, what does he look like, when you're next seeing him, these really, really basic things of being in a relationship. D.I. Clifford added, PC Thurley had provided no verifiable evidence of Dan Jones. Depending on the source of information, she was either seeing him for 12 months or 18 months. She can only describe him as a white male with dark hair and dark eyes with a tattoo on his ankle. But then to others, she has said no tattoo. He's anywhere between 5'8" and 6 foot and either a slim, average or muscular build. He continued, PC Thurley's criminal conviction represents some of the most serious that a police officer could face, as one that goes to the heart of an officer's honesty and integrity. Yeah, that's what I said before, the integrity. This is absolutely what the police are about, and we're really, really struggling at the moment with trust between public and the police. You know, we're seeing what people like to call the two-tiered policing of the Palestine protests in London, and how they are being treated with kid gloves, whereas like during lockdown, people were getting absolutely hammered, and even the Sarah Everard vigil, the police came down quite heavy-handed on that as well, and also how we've seen like with the police absolutely loving arresting people for what they perceive as hate crime and non-crime hate incidents, whereas you know for decades they were covering up the industrial scale rape, pimping, drugging, and murder, etc., of predominantly white working class Anglo-Saxon girls of predominantly Christian backgrounds by overwhelmingly Pakistani, Bangladeshi Muslim men. You know, and they went to great lengths to cover those crimes up, you know, even going as far as arresting the girls and their families if they tried to highlight those crimes. And it wasn't just the police, obviously, that was also mainstream media, you know, counsellors, schools, you know, various care and NHS staff. You know, it just went across the whole board of our society that, but those people were thrown on the pyre of, those girls were thrown on the pyre of equality and inclusivity. And again, it's just wider insanity of this ideology, in my opinion, which is why I like to highlight these sorts of things, you know, because this ideology does seep into this sort of stuff is to do with that ideology, you know, like if this woman hasn't been sent to prison, it will be very, very disappointing. He continued, well, sorry, I read that bit. The public confidence in both her and Hampshire and the Isle of Wight Constabulary will be damaged when they know a police officer has lied so extensively. Absolutely, you know, reputational damage is massive with someone like that. You know, it's reputations are hard to build, and they can be ruined with a single action or a single word. You know, and you may never get that reputation back. You know, and this is the problem that the police have got massively at the moment, and they've got quite poor recruitment. Again, I think people are starting to look at the police now, especially with the amount of university students that are coming in. I do think is causing problems for the police as well. Whereas once upon a time, there was a direct pipeline from ex-MOD staff going into the police. And I'm not saying it should be exclusively ex-military going in, but I do think they bring a lot of common sense approach to how they deal with things, you know, and it's and you can generally find them a lot more trustable as well. Trustworthy. Trustable, that's not even a word. Scott Chilton, Chief Constable for Hampshire, Isle of Wight, sacked his officer with immediate effect and without notice, rightly so. He said he is saddened that an officer with first-hand knowledge of victims of such horrific crimes would choose to lie about a violent assault. I do think that this has been an attention thing, and yes, you might have seen somebody getting stabbed, but that doesn't make that okay to behave like that. Doesn't even work. Whatever the reason for these actions, to decide the police and criminal justice system, there is no doubt that it impacts on women and men who are beaten, stabbed, and abused by their partners and ex-partners, and look to the police to bring their perpetrators to justice. Yeah, fully agree with that final statement. I mean, that's the end of the article. You know, he's absolutely bang on there. You know, and it's to people who are actually being abused, they might find the police to not be trustworthy, because if you've got officers who are willing to diminish such a serious crime for their own personal gain, whatever that gain is, and I know I've said it multiple times, I do think for her it's been the attention and causing the drama with this. Even if that is motivated by PTSD, it still doesn't make it right. That's not a healthy response at all. But anyway, that's all I've really got to say on that. If you found that informative, please like, subscribe, and put a comment below, and I'll see about getting another one out later. Good evening.